Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
We think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty. Welcome to RadioAMB, designed for those who want to live a long and vibrant life. I'm Patty Smucker, your host, and someone who's been in the beauty industry for over 40 years. RadioAMB, which stands for American Made Beauty, is designed to tell the secrets behind the making of health and beauty products. Our program sponsor is Free Your Mane, and you can find Free Your Mane at freeyourmane, spelled MANE.com, or you can also find them at Anthropology stores and salons and spas across the United States. So as we get started today, I want to dedicate the show to one of my little sisters, Linda. Today is her birthday, and during the last year, she's fought one of the toughest battles of her life. Happy birthday, sis. You're one of the inspirations in my life and one of nature's best beauties, which coincidentally brings us to the subject of our show today, nature's best beauty. The first of my two guests started in the manufacturing industry with natural foods and used this as a platform to innovate natural beauty in America. Jeffrey Light, CEO of Aroma Naturals, will be our featured guest today. You'll learn how he started and how he was at the epicenter when the world woke up to the importance of quality raw materials and nature's best to create healthy products. We'll spend the first half of the show with Jeffrey, and during the second half, Jeffrey will introduce us to his son, Eric Light, who Jeffrey has partnered with to create the next generation of natural products and innovation. We'll hear Eric's perspective on Gen X and how his peers are changing the world of natural and organic products. Finally, during our last segment, we'll wrap up by talking a little bit about what's ahead for natural and organic beauty products, new innovations that Aroma Naturals is working on, and the exciting advances in the future. So let's get started. Let me tell you a little bit more about Jeffrey. Over the last 50 years, Jeffrey Light has worked in the consumer goods manufacturing arena, owning and building brands for national and international distribution and sales. He was the founder of Jason's Natural and Organic Cosmetics, a leading brand that has been in the market for over 50 years and is still #1 in the natural food store category. After selling the Jason Company to Hanes Celestial Group, Jeffrey retired for a while, mentoring others in the industry. With his son Eric, he re-entered the manufacturing arena a few years back when they purchased Aroma Naturals, a manufacturer of natural and organic beauty and health products and candles, and is once again transforming how natural products are being made. Welcome, Jeffrey. I'm delighted to have you here with us.
Thank you, Patty. Nice to be with you.
So our listeners tell us that they love hearing about how successful people started in the business. How did you get into the food manufacturing business?
Well, going back 50 years, so it's a long story. The short of it is my family had moved out from Cleveland when I was just a little kid, and the idea was that after the war, I mean, we're going back to the 50s, my dad wanted to be in food, and the opportunity came up for a small health food company called Hain Pure Foods, was for sale, and my dad bought it, and we moved from Cleveland, and we ended up from being in the radio and television business, I say we, like I made all the decisions,
right.
and I'm taking all the credit for the success. But anyhow, we as a family moved out, and my dad went from radio and television, which was the radios he fixed during the war, and because there were no televisions. There was a time, actually, when there were no televisions.
Right.
And there were no cell phones, and there were no computers.
Imagine that.
Right. So then we came out and we made food because, back in those days, everybody after the war effort, the world, the United States, everything had to be rebuilt.
Right.
Everything was new and different and growing, and there was an incredible demand for things that were new and fresh. It was a great catalyst for developing ideas and helping people to start to realize their dreams. So it was a different time.
And so
that was my early beginning, and I think it served me well over the years.
And so basically it was your father who got you into the food business. And so at what point did you see the connection between food and beauty?
Well, what happened was that when I started as a kid, because we had a factory.
Right.
My father would take me and I'd work in the factory during the summers. So I've worked every summer since I've been 13 in a factory. So I'm somewhat of a factory brat. But later on, after college, I went to work in the family business. And I came to realize as I covered all the natural food stores, product stores on the 13 western states, was my first job. And in going into the stores, there was not very much in cosmetics, but that's where all the pretty girls were. So I spent more time worrying about cosmetics than I did about food. So
right.
People were starting to understand. But what happened was that the cosmetics still had mineral oil and petrolatum in it, which are petroleum byproducts.
Right.
And so the difference of the natural cosmetics had not been developed at that time. We're going back into the mid-'60s.
Right.
And so the first part was easy from a food background to understand that you need to get rid of the petroleum byproducts.
Right.
And we replaced mineral oil and petrolatum with vegetable oils and vegetable waxes.
Okay. And so, and that's really interesting in terms of that whole timing, because, one of my favorite books is a book called Beauty Imagined, and it's a history of the global beauty industry by Jeffrey Jones of Harvard Business School. And he discusses those two significant influences that you've actually just mentioned, and that's the development of natural beauty post-World War, where there was this environment of creating new and things, and also an advocacy towards natural over artificial, as well as the hippie movement that was beginning to focus on the environment. But still, at that particular point, majority of consumers weren't interested or didn't even have that realization as far as natural beauty. How did you find the pathway to get consumers interested in healthier products?
Well, I think that, I was a product of the time, much like you said. And that there were people who had allergies. There were people who had special medical needs. And what happened was that it was starting to develop. And, every year was just a few more, like grains of sand on the beach. And there were a few more people and a few more people. Because if you didn't feel well and you went to a doctor, you didn't always, you were given suggestions, because there's no magic one pill that helps or cures everybody of the same thing. And so what was starting to happen was an interest on being able to take care of yourself.
Okay.
And not necessarily looking for, there were a lot of people where you go to a doctor and what the doctor says is what you do.
Right.
On the other hand, sometimes there's some disappointments from the medical community, and you have to go and and what you have to do is figure out for yourself by reading, as you mentioned in the book, by reading and finding out where you are in the spectrum of one problem or another, and what you would like to do about it.
Right.
And so the biggest part of the movement was always nutrition.
Okay.
And then there were supplements, because when you go back into the 30s, 40s, and 50s, there really wasn't too much happening in supplements until about the 50s.
Okay.
And so that's when people started having more choices, because not everybody assimilates food the same way.
Right.
And it was one of those things where the saying, you are what you eat, well, if your nutrition is not well thought out and with some understanding about what you're eating, not eating, what was available to you or not available to you. So then you had supplements to be helpful and to kind of round out the nutritional part. But, but basically you are what you eat. So with your skin, hair, and nails moving out from the inside of your body, so what we see on the outside of the body is actually dead.
Right.
The cuticle of a nail and the hair, it's dead. And the skin is basically dead. It's being sloughed off, every 28 to 30 days.
Right, right. And so when you started developing Jason's Natural and brought it out in the market, my research says that it's over 50 years old as a brand. Why do you think it became so successful? What was some of the unique aspects that allowed you to break through the noise?
Well, I wish I could say that I was, unbelievably smart. And at the time, I had all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that to answer your question, is that the concept was really one of common sense.
Mm-hmm.
That the same thing that I cared about in the foods I ate and my family ate was the same thing that everyone started to be concerned about.
Right.
Because at the time, the most popular, I have to keep going back to nutrition because
mm-hmm.
the natural cosmetic industry kind of paralleled the understanding of what was happening to our food supply, at the same time.
Right.
So what was the best-selling bread,
mm-hmm.
From after wartime, through the 60s and 70s? It
mm-hmm.
was Wonder Bread.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so what was Wonder Bread? And, Wonder Bread was basically bleached flour that they added vitamins back.
Right.
They added vitamin D back to the bread because, they took everything out of it by bleaching it, so it was like sawdust.
Right.
And then they needed, to look for some nutritional part because it was supposed to be grains. But as you know, as a kid, you used to be able to take Wonder Bread, put it in a jar of water, and that was white paste.
Right.
We used to use it at school, to paste things down in arts and crafts.
And yet we ate it.
Yeah, and then when they made it whole wheat bread, all they did was flavor it with caramel coloring,
uh-huh.
and they called it wheat bread.
Amazing. Amazing.
So my point is that the cosmetic industry, was kind of the same thing, that it was still petrolatum, the mass market was still sodium lauryl sulfate, it was still petrolatum, it was still a lot of the it was actually bad because there weren't any rules about the preservative systems.
Uh-huh.
And the DM and the things that's still on the back of some labels today in the U.S. were formaldehyde and formaldehyde donors.
Right, right.
Because if you bought a protein shampoo
mm-hmm.
from a store,
mm-hmm.
then if you went back into the 50s and 60s, formaldehyde was the approved preservative system for any type of skincare product. So be it a shampoo, a conditioner, or a body lotion, formaldehyde was allowed to be the preservative system.
Right. Well, and it allows me to do a subtle plug here, and that's this concept that there has been no changes in cosmetic regulations that go all the way back to the 30s is just a concept that is completely untrue, because we have evolved as an industry, and the rules have changed to make it cosmetics that are safer and safer, along with the consumer's demand, when companies and innovators like yourself who have made huge changes with regards to the way that products are made. So can you tell us some of the most significant advances in natural beauty products since you started?
Yeah, well, I think that, first of all, that there are now over 22,000 INCI, INCI, which is the descriptors that have been accepted throughout the world to list ingredients on the back panel of a cosmetic. So I would have to say that takes the top rung of and the top stair if we're taking a look at what significant, to answer your question, what significant changes have happened. The fact that all non-professional cosmetic products sold in the United States have to have inky listings.
And for our listeners, and we've talked about this in past shows, in the cosmetic industry, international nomenclature of cosmetic ingredients, and the acronym is INCI, is the way that you see an ingredient list. You see all of the names on that ingredient list. Those are INCI names. And though 22,000 is what you're referring to, Jeffrey, that are now approved internationally, that we all speak the same language. So if you pick up a bottle of a product in France, it should adhere to that same INCI nomenclature, that INCI ingredient list, so consumers can make informed choices. And that is a huge and significant part that's happened overall in the cosmetic industry.
Well, I think all of us who have been in the, first of all of us as people, it's one world starts with one person.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I mean, we really, we have a right to know.
Right.
And so that accomplishment of listing those ingredients, I think, is probably the most, I really believe, the most significant of all the changes. From that, then we have something like the state of California with its Proposition 65,
mm-hmm.
where the state of California didn't wait.
Right.
For things that can cause cancer, not to get into the water supply.
Right.
And so on one hand, it's enormously significant for the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that on one hand, California should be applauded. How they went about it is a little, the details of it, are not so friendly to the manufacturing community. And, there's basically the lawyers and the political aspect undercurrent that follows that Proposition 65 along.
Mm.
But from the consumer standpoint, I think it's one of those great examples of what can be done when there's a community that really cares about our safety.
Right.
But why is California the only state, that actually has, these tough rules? So I think that that's a shame, and especially when we take a look at what happened in Detroit with lead in the water.
Right.
That wouldn't happen in California, because of these rules and regulations and the watchdog effect that this has had by a lot of associations and attorneys and echo type of groups that have a stake in it.
Right. And Jeffrey, I find it really interesting that as a manufacturer, as one of those people that are responsible for the product that's being put in the marketplace, you feel like Prop 65 has been good for the making of cosmetics. Is it been because it's helped for innovation to take place in making better and safer product?
Yes, and the good part about, that's exactly right. It is about how it encourages innovation, because with cosmetics, just like with nutraceutical and type of foods,
mm-hmm.
You want things that are appropriate and helpful in problem solving if they're available.
Right.
And they are.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, herbs, botanicals, foods that from different parts of the world that have long histories of being helpful. And also you have to be careful. So if you are glucose intolerant, you have to be careful of, it's natural foods that cause the problem
mm-hmm.
and aggravate the problem. So even though it's natural, it's not a quick answer. If you're diabetic, you have problems with natural foods, and some you can eat and some you can't.
Mm-hmm.
So, just because we call it natural or organic, doesn't mean it's safe and good for everybody who has some type of lack of, bodily functions, that they can assimilate the food well, right? And everything that we think is healthy is healthy. For the most part, if you don't have allergies, you get away with being able to enjoy most foods.
Right.
But once you have like a peanut allergy, going to a baseball game and not being able to eat popcorn and peanuts would be terrible.
Absolutely. It's part of the experience, absolutely. Right,
but
right.
They're all natural. So, as I got into the natural foods, and then I cared about the natural cosmetics, there's a lot to understand.
Right.
And there's a lot to do from a manufacturing standpoint that costs a lot more, both in people time, both in research and development, and the raw materials we use, to make sure that we are not passing on, anything that could be dangerous, even though it's labeled natural, because it's the consumer, education that takes a little bit longer,
right,
to get around.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when we, if as we wrap up this section, if there was a couple of things you could guide our listeners to when they're shopping for natural and organic products, what's a couple of things they should definitely look for?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Patty, for allowing me to be here with you and answer your questions. There's so much to talk about on all of these subjects. When you're asking, for what can be done, I think I have a couple pet peeves that I think are somewhat disappointing to the consumer. The first one is online. When you go online and you look for information on products, or you see a product that's advertised and you go online to learn more about it, they don't, not all companies list their ingredients online.
Right. And it's a huge pet peeve of mine as well. So, and we're gonna do a little cliffhanger here because we've run out of time for this segment. But we're gonna have Jeffrey join us for the next segment as well. So hold that thought, Jeffrey, of the other things that are important. But yes, absolutely, you should be able to see the ingredients at counter when you're looking at the ingredient label and on your website. That is required by law. So we're gonna take a break. And when we come back, we'll have Jeffrey will stay with us, and we'll continue this conversation. I'm Patty Smucker. You're listening to Radio AMB, and we're here with Jeffrey Light, CEO of Aroma Naturals. We'll be right back.
Shh. Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com, and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
You're listening to American Made Beauty, where we're here with Jeffrey Light of Aroma Naturals, and we've been talking about nature's best beauty. And Jeffrey has really been an innovator and at the epicenter as the industry was changing in the 60s. Jeffrey, we were talking about what are some of the things that consumers can look for when they're looking for natural and organic products. One is on websites. They should be able to see the ingredient list before they're making a decision for buying. We talked about that. What are some of the other things that you think is really important?
Well, I think second to the, having the information about ingredients, before you make a buying decision, which is online. We know that the ingredients are listed on all products in the stores, so that is available to the consumer. I think the next thing is to kind of make sure that ingredients that are listed on the websites, and such as sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium lauryl sulfate, when it comes to hair care, they understand about methyl and propylparaben. Which are preservatives, which are not recommended anymore. But yet there are still, if you go into mass market stores, the products, maybe 70, 80, maybe as high as 90% of the products on the shelf in hair care, there's still sodium lauryl sulfate, there's still methyl and propylparaben. So even though there's been 20 years of talking about a lot of these ingredients that would be preferable not to have in your products, especially when you're buying a family product, something where the mom and dad and the children might share these products. I think that there's just that need for continuing education so that the basics of what is appropriate in the product today, by today's measurement of good and not so good. I think that's, really kind of important.
Right. In being educated, so when they go in, read the labels, and that's the reason why it really, as you indicated at the top of the hour, these 22,000 inky names being on the ingredient list and the laws that have changed so that the information is there for consumers to make informed choices, we need to really take advantage of those opportunities. Now, Jeffrey, when you, at the top of the hour, we talked about the idea that you sold Jason's Natural and you retired for a while. Why did you make a decision to come back after you were retired?
Well, after I retired, I think that one is I felt I was still young enough to work. And number two is that I did work and I did mentoring and coaching for nonprofits, so I try to help small entrepreneurial type of business people with their choice of vocation, and I'm really a type of person who would like to see people fulfill their dreams.
Yeah.
So I support the entrepreneurial process. I support the entrepreneurial person, and I have been blessed, so I wanted to help others, and hopefully they would become blessed, with doing the right thing and being successful. Today, in today's world, in starting a business, running a business is extremely tough.
Right.
The competition, the rules, the regulations, the amount of money it takes to put product out, the creative process, just every facet of a business today is just difficult.
Well, and I know you and I met many years ago, and I remember one of the first things you said to me as a mentor is one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs have is the delusion that they have a business, because you have just enough money to think you have a business, but it really is not a profitable business, and that is stuck in my mind for many, many years. So you've always been a great supporter of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and as you know, Patty, because you know the type of work you've done, in all of your years for others, and how passionate you've been about that. So I think it's very, very similar. Yeah.
And so you decided to come back and join forces with your son to open up Aroma Naturals. Why Eric?
Well, what I thought was that when I go back into my family history, my father had worked for his father, and I worked for my father. So, I'm like second generation, going on third, and Eric became third generation going on fourth. And so, being an entrepreneur, and being passionate about it, I I didn't see anything wrong with it, and felt that Eric, might appreciate having a opportunity to, as long as I'm still here and healthy, to be able to work in a family business. And I think that's we've accomplished that, and I think that in going through it together with my son, it is not easy, and there are enormous challenges. And I think that the entrepreneurial process teaches you a lot about life too.
Right, exactly.
And so I think that I think all of that is good, and it makes me happy. It makes my wife happy, and I'm not sure about the kids, but they're stuck with their dad, sometimes 24/7. I think we're blessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the one thing that's so important, for our company, Aroma Naturals, as any company that's out there, the people who make the product, who put the product out there, who develop the product for the consumer and our customers, it is such a joy every time we get a letter and somebody says, "Thank you, I love your product, my family uses it," or, it helped me solve a problem, whether it was dandruff or, itchy, scaly skin, rosacea, there's dry, even something as simple as dry skin.
Right,
and,
right.
Because for some people that's not simple.
Right, yeah.
And so there isn't anything that can make you feel better. And before when you'd ask the question, like, why did I do the cosmetics? Well, I had a good background in food. And people used the Hain food products, and still today, Hain's Celestial Group is the largest manufacturer of natural and organic food in the world.
Right.
And so, their products are sold all over the world, and now, as they bought my company, my products are sold all over the world. So it really, really, really is a great joy to know that you can help people and make people feel good about the products they use.
Right, absolutely. And I love the idea of the impact that you've made, and certainly as we move forward, that you have this opportunity with the next generation, with your son coming into this. So we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to be here with Jeffrey Light, and when we return, his son Eric Light is going to step in and talk to us about coming into the business and what lies ahead from Aroma Naturals. Remember that you're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm Patty Smucker, and we will be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need, from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call EarthChannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. I'm Patty Smucker, your host, and this is the segment that we were hoping to be able to have Eric join us, but there's been some complications, so we're fortunate that Jeffrey Light is going to continue. We're here with Jeffrey Light of Aroma Naturals, one of the leading natural and organic contract manufacturers in the industry, and we've talked, Jeffrey, about the idea that you are a contract manufacturer, which means that you make product for other brands. But in fact, Aroma Naturals is a brand that consumers can buy in the market today as well. You make your own brand.
Yes, that's correct. They're basically about 20%, 80% of the product that's in the marketplace is not necessarily made by the marketing company.
Right.
Because not every company can afford to have a factory and to have the chemist and equipment. So they have product made usually by their specifications and their corporate philosophy and their vision. And then so we make product to match what our private label customers would like to see in the market. Because it's one thing to be a great marketer and to be able to market, products both in the United States and around the world. And then it's another thing to actually have the chemist, to have the equipment, and be able to make the products, as other people specify them.
Right, exactly.
And it's the same in the food industry. It's the same in the pharmaceutical industry. It's the same in the toy industry. Not everybody can gear up and afford to make, to have the building, the people, and the equipment.
Right. And part of the success, though, that you've had in terms of being able to continue to grow the business is to continue to innovate. In having your son involved, Eric, involved with the business, has that provided you a different perspective? I know he's sort of that age of the Gen Xer. How do you think that his peers are feeling about natural and organic product, and how is it changing the way that you're doing business today?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think that Eric, having Eric here is really wonderful because he does represent I represent the past,
mm-hmm.
he represents the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so how we looked at things in the past and how we built the natural product industry in being able to give the consumer choices, more natural choices than what was there before. But today, the marketplace is very sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
And young people, my son is 34 going on 35 actually this month. And so what he wants is if he has a problem with dry skin, if he, from shaving, if it's chafed, and he needs some moisturizing oil, he wants an answer to his problem.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants it now. And they're a little bit on the impatient side, but they also have these high expectations of that all these years a company has had an opportunity to understand their skin, understand their needs, and to be able to give them a product that solves their problem.
Right.
And so it's really interesting here when we start to talk about developing a new product. We have a new private label opportunity for a large company that markets products all over the world. To be able to put together a product that's multicultural, multifunctional, and has multi-benefits, so that it's not just a matter of whether it takes care of old skin or it takes care of young skin, it takes care of white skin or black skin or brown skin. All of these factors have to be weighed. And so when you take a look at the Gen Xers and you take a look at how quickly they can get information off the web. So it tends to make them a little bit impatient. It also makes them all-knowing.
Right.
They have the last 50 years of information almost on every topic right at their fingertips.
Right. Mm-hmm. And do you find, though, that sometimes the things they're looking for, you mentioned impatience, you mentioned that they can get all sorts of information, but do you find that it also makes some of their expectations unrealistic?
Well, I'm glad you're not asking about my son in particular. For everybody who has children, I'm sure that it's a common. Once they're 20 and 30, it's probably a common issue about the younger generation being somewhat impatient.
Right.
But I think when we get past that part of being impatient, I think that they are reasonable. I think they do have a right to expect that the products that they have to choose from are functional.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one thing to be natural, it's another thing to be organic, because natural and organic are pretty close to the same.
Right.
Organic has a certification, natural is just a word.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so we don't really know how natural is, where we do know what organic is.
Right.
When there's a certificate, when a company does it right, because it says in the name of the company, if they use the word organic, I would probably be concerned, because most companies that are organic don't usually use the name organic, in their name.
Right.
Because it's just become overused and underqualified. But getting back to the younger people, so I think today they have a right to expect functional products. I think the products that are out today are more functional than they've ever been in the past. I think the way we make product, and I'll tell you a little bit about that as we go along, but the way we make product today is bigger, better, stronger, and more effective than the products we made in the past, because we have over 22,000 ingredients to pick from.
Mm-hmm.
It was never like that before. They're adding anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 ingredients over the last years. It's just amazing.
Right.
So things like aloe vera have been there forever.
Right.
And they still are. Things like tea tree oil have been there forever, and they still are. So a lot of herbs and botanicals are same.
Right.
But a lot of the ceramides and the proteins and the peptides and the plant stem cells, these are new ingredients.
Yes.
And these are things that we've seen over the last maybe 5 to 7 years from the first time we even saw those words. And now, of course, they become more commonplace, and there's more choices of them.
Yes. And you mentioned something earlier too, that relative to this next generation of buying consumers in our category, and that's that multicultural, multifunctional. And you mentioned the idea that the expectations is not only that it's going to be natural and organic, but that it's going to be functional. So it seems like those are significant drivers in the innovation process as you're beginning to look at how you make products that's going to resonate with your buyers today.
Exactly. When we're putting together a product today, Erica's right there, and it has to be multitasking, multifunctional, multicultural, and then the ingredients. We need to take into mindset about allergies. So we want to make sure that, and we haven't talked about non-GMO,
right?
Which is a whole other subject. That's close to both of our hearts. As something that more and more people need to understand.
Right, exactly. Okay, great. Well, we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we will continue our conversation. We're here with Jeffrey Light. He is the CEO of Aroma Naturals, one of the leading manufacturers of natural and organic products, and we will continue our conversation about what's happening with the innovation of products that are allowing companies like Aroma Natural to make products bigger, better, healthier, and stronger. And we'll talk a little bit about non-GMO. So stay with us. You're listening to Radio AMB. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Oh, man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
Welcome back. I'm Patty Smucker, and you're listening to RadioAMB, where we share the secrets behind the making of health and beauty products. Remember that our sponsor is Free Your Mane. I'm here with Jeffrey Light of Aroma Naturals, one of the leading contract manufacturers for many successful natural and organic brands in the market. And Jeffrey, you mentioned the idea that there has been innovation that's allowing you to make products bigger and better and stronger than ever before. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, what we've been able to do is for our brand, Aroma Naturals, I've always wanted, because I've been in my old company, Jason, has been in business 57 years. So I've been around in the industry for a very long time. One of the things I hadn't accomplished before, and now being back in business, is that what I wanted to do was recognizing that as a manufacturer, the larger the company, the bigger the size of the batches and your product runs are. Mm-hmm. But the fact of making an emulsion, which is a cream, a lotion, or a serum, where you're mixing oils and waters together, that's called an emulsion. Uh-huh. That has been in the past a process of heating the product.
Right.
And in that process, you're, I believe, that you're actually cooking away. It's no different at home on the stove. The difference between steaming and boiling.
Right.
When you boil, a vegetable and it's sitting in the water and it's boiling, all the phytonutrients are going where?
Right.
They're leaving the fruits and vegetables and they're going, into the water at very high heat, which, as we know, high heat is not a good thing for natural ingredients.
Right.
So we've come up with a solution to that, and we came up with new technology, new science, which had been around for a long time. We just found it sitting on a bookshelf, and we brought it forward, and we've incorporated that, and we call it cold fusion.
Okay.
And that is our process in which we make our emulsions with little or no heat.
Okay.
So that our products are more active. If you believe in natural and organic products, which we do, then you want the phytonutrients, the actual, what makes a plant, the herbs, botanicals, and things that grow, what actually makes them helpful and makes them better than petroleum byproducts.
Right.
And so we use cold fusion to make all of our emulsions. So that's our creams, our lotions, and our serums. So we believe that our products, just our normal products, are better. We make them in small batches. We have 18 small tanks. And so we're like a boutique manufacturer where we actually care, about the quality of everything that we make, and we want to make it the best way possible.
Right. And let's talk about so that's the process, the cold fusion, but what has taken place with regards to the raw materials and the quality of the raw materials that goes into making those products?
Well, the first thing that's really important for any manufacturer that wants to be in the natural and organic space, you really have to have a technical team, and you have to have technical process, because the raw materials coming in are natural,
mm-hmm.
and they have to be stored cool, in a cool place,
right?
Because they're not going to weather well. Even though we bring things in drums of vegetable oil,
right?
And so when these raw materials come in, that it's kind of like being a kitchen,
mm-hmm.
and being a chef. When you're manufacturing these things, so you want to make sure that the ingredients are fresh. You want to make sure that they're not exposed to a lot of heat before you use them. For our case with cold fusion, we want to make sure they're never exposed to a lot of heat,
right?
Through the whole process. Then you get into some of the new ingredients. In less than 10 years, we've come up with these super ingredients. So they are peptides, which come from the proteins. They're ceramides. They're very, very active in keeping the top layers plump.
Mm-hmm.
And now, in the last 3 to 5 years, we've got plant stem cells, which are very nutritive to our own skin cells.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because the plant stem cells, why is that so beneficial? Is it true that the stem cells from a botanical actually can have a positive effect on animal tissue?
Well, I think that, what they have found out is that the plant stem cells, and the reason they call them the stem cells, it's the same thing, why in a human we have stem cells. Anything, from the right stem cell, anything in our body can be made from a basic stem cell.
Right.
And so, there are a lot of issues that go along with human stem cells,
mm-hmm.
For all kinds of reasons. But I think when it comes to the plant stem cell, what we're talking about is we're talking about the cells of the plants that make the stem, that make the roots, that make the leaves, and that make the plant function. Okay, because in a sense, a plant, be it a tree or a tomato plant or a carrot or even a radish, something as simple as, all right, it's those plant stem cells that make up all the cells that make the plant a factory.
Right. Okay.
And make it germinate,
mm-hmm.
and make the fruit or the vegetable grow from the plant.
Right.
Because in a flower, right, what we have is, it produces a flower.
Right.
A blade of grass would probably be the simplest, right, because it doesn't do anything else than grow a blade of grass. But a flower has to develop a flower.
Right.
And it has to procreate itself, into the future. So there has to be males and females. There's a process.
Right.
And then you go and it becomes more sophisticated when you want to grow a fruit or a vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the plants have to be, there's plants that grow in freezing weather, and there's plants that grow, on the desert, on the cactus.
Right.
And everyone knows, I think everybody in the world knows about aloe vera.
Exactly.
And how important it is, to moisturize the skin, and how great it is for sensitive skin.
So we've been
from a cactus that grows everywhere, but it came from the desert.
Right. So it goes back to nature's best beauty. We've got that. So as we close this segment and our show, Jeffrey, what's your vision for the future? What do you think that we can expect going forward in terms of innovation in natural and organic products?
Well, one of the things that we're doing here at Aroma Naturals, and I think you're finding other companies that are starting to do too, is that we will be making product for individuals. They'll be able to go online, and they'll be able to design kind of a DIY, do-it-yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be able to tell us what they want for their product, and we're going to be able to make that for them.
Wow. Customization to the ultimate, even in beauty products.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, Jeffrey, thank you. It's been really exciting to have you here. And again, a man who's been at the epicenter of shaping the natural and organic world. Thank you. We'll hope to have an opportunity to hear from Eric in the future, so ask him to let us know when we can capture him, because we'd love to meet him as well. But thank you very much for being with us.
And thank you, Patty. Thank you for this opportunity, both for myself and the company Aroma Naturals.
Great. And if somebody's interested in contacting Aroma Naturals, it's just aromanaturals.com?
Correct.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. That'll do it for us today. Don't miss our program next week with one of the third part or the second part of our Universal Stories. We have Karen Short, Vice President of Marketing, who will be sharing with us some of the customers in her business that are really leading the wellness communities all over North America. Remember to send your questions and comments to requests at American Made Beauty. I'm Patty Smucker, and you're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. Thank you for listening to RadioAMB, where we think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. Earthchannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to Earthchannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
HealthyLife.net, the Positive Radio Network.